And welcome back, everybody, to the Podcaster Nation. That's right. I said welcome back because I know you were just listening to our stuff and you loved it so much that you came back for more. Folks, that was a fantastic move. It was brilliant, really was, because we have a lot more for you. Now, how do we have so much more for you? Because this is the podcast. It's about podcasters, it's for podcasters, and it's done by podcasters. And our guest today, amongst a lot of other things, is wait for it, a podcaster. That's right. See, you guys are brilliant. I told you. I knew that you'd be able to crack that code. Folks, this is a place where we come together to raise each other up, and this is the place where the rising tide raises all ships. So let's get sailing and bring in our guest for today. Uh, we have had the opportunity to bring in some very incredible people, men and women, on this show over the years, and some very powerful women, especially. And today is absolutely no different. And today we have someone who is a leader of powerful women, and I cannot wait to hear her story. This lady has 20 years in the tech space. Okay, she's a former director of engineering, and she's looking to lead ambitious women in tech, especially, to find their base, to find them, get the most out of their careers, and to go through a results-oriented mentoring process to become the best that they can be and break those glass ceilings. I mean, could we have a better topic for this morning? Absolutely amazing. This lady is the host of the hit podcast From a Woman to a Leader. Please welcome Limor Bergman. Gross Limor, how you doing this morning?
I'm good. How are you, Rory?
Oh, better than I deserve, but thank you for asking. I appreciate that very much. And listen, I appreciate you coming on the podcast this morning. It's 5:30 my time. Now, are you in Israel? Do I have that right?
Yeah. So for me, it's much more convenient. It's midday, so it's 12:30. So
Oh, right on. Okay, good, good, good. All right, well, so I'm the only one who's really, really just like sort of hugging his coffee like it's a security blanket right now. All right, I got you.
yeah,
Wonderful. Lamore, you've got an amazing story here. So before we get into podcasting and everything else, and we will talk about that plenty, tell everybody, a little bit about who is Limor. What are you about and kind of how'd you get here?
yeah. So only more. I have one. What will I tell you? So I'm in Israel. I grew up in Israel. Lived most of my life here, apart from 9 years that we lived in the U.S. I am married and I have four children. Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. I survived. And their ages. So I have twins. They are the youngest one. All of them, by the way, are born in May. All of them.
Wow.
So in May, my youngest, the twins are going to be 16. My son is going to be 19. And my daughter is going to be 22. So they are.
Congratulations. That's amazing. That's great. All right.
Yeah. What else can I say? Grew up in a middle class family, and started my journey, like my career journey in tech, because that's what I knew. I was good in STEM in high school, decided to go and study computer science. It seemed practical, which it was, by the way. And I started my career as an engineer. And I was a software engineer, eventually led me to leadership because I felt like I wanted really to support other engineers. And I guess that's something that came natural to me. And because I'm empathetic, I like to listen to others, I like to help others. And I actually started my leadership journey after I delivered my second child, like my son. Funny enough, like I was pregnant, I was 8 months pregnant. And I really felt at that time stuck in my career. And there was an opportunity for a management position at the company. My husband actually encouraged me to apply, even though I was like, I didn't think I stood a chance. That's kind of, I started my leadership journey. And so after returning from maternity leave, I started to manage. And after I was, things kind of big changes happened to me, related to pregnancies. I don't know why. But when I was pregnant with my twins, my husband was offered to relocate to Denver, Colorado.
Oh, wow. Okay, is that what brought you to the States the first time?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see. Okay.
That was brought us to the States. I mean, to be honest, I almost kicked him out of my house when initially he brought that.
You didn't want to go, huh?
I was terrified, Rory, I was already I had two children back then, 6 and 3, and I was expecting twins. That was not something I, I planned for. I mean, I
Sure.
was terrified as it is. And he came with that, oh, let's just move to the US. I was like, are you crazy? That's not going to happen. But his manager was very persistent. And I guess after I delivered and I stayed at home and I said, okay, my life hasn't ended. It's okay. It's manageable. I can do that. And he came back one day from work. I was still like they were babies, like they were a month old. And he said, you know what? My boss still wants us to move. And that's kind of, the last chance. Do you want to do it? If not, I'll tell him no. And that's it. And I said, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
All
And
right.
that's how we moved. We moved with babies. It was hard. I won't say it was easy. It was hard.
Sure. What happened
And
to
yeah,
your job when you moved then?
so I left the job I had
Uh-huh.
here in Israel, and I started from scratch. Not from scratch, but I started like looking for a job in the US. I didn't know anyone in Denver. I was never there even before. I was there once before we moved, a month before, just to find a house and all that, but I was never there before. So I was looking for a job, and luckily I found one after a few months and started my, journey there. So I worked for several companies in the US and led engineering.
Sure. Okay.
And,
So you did that. You did that for 9 years?
yeah, for 9 years until we decided to go back.
I see.
We never planned to stay for 9 years. We never planned it. We just moved. We haven't thought about it much. And yeah, we stayed. We lived in Colorado. Then we moved to Texas. We lived in Plano in North Dallas area. Life was good.
Okay.
And I guess the kids were growing older. My daughter, my oldest, she was in high school. And we started thinking about, okay, what's going to happen after she finish high school? Then she's going to go to college. Then, we felt some urgency to make decisions because we didn't know what's going to happen after she finished high school. And if we want to go back, it will be more difficult. And maybe she'll stay in the US and I'll move without her. Anyway, a
My
lot of
goodness.
it was very difficult decision. It
Yeah,
was very
sounds like it.
difficult. Yeah. And my in-laws were old. My father-in-law passed since then. We kind of, decided to go back here.
Okay.
I don't know for how long, but we're here now.
Yeah.
And I decided that that was a good timing to make a drastic change also in my career. I decided, okay, I am passionate about women. I was mentoring women already back then, just for free. I was very involved in the company Women ERG, and I said, oh, this is something I'm passionate about. I should do something about it. I didn't know exactly what. So I decided to leave everything I knew.
My goodness. Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
you're going like across the world, country to country for crying out loud. And in the middle of all that, you're having twins and
Yeah.
children. And
Yeah.
then 9 years later, you go, let's just do this all again. And to add a little spice to the fire, I'm going to go
Yeah.
ahead and completely change my career after all these years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All
What
right.
I
Good deal. So make sure I had all that right.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. Now, let me ask you this because I've listened to your podcast and I know that, a lot of the things that you talk about kind of center around a glass ceiling in the industry, in engineering and in tech and things like that. So, in terms of women moving into leadership positions, I'm curious as someone who's an American, always been an American, the did you find that the glass ceiling was the same in Israel as it was in the United States, or was one country a little tougher in terms of culture and breaking through?
I don't know if to say tougher, it's just different.
Really?
I think a
Okay.
lot of biases, and I'll say this, I mean, the work I do with women, it's more about themselves, not just about like I'm not coming from a place of victim, of a victim. I'm a woman, so
Great.
I'm a victim, and everyone's fault, everyone else's fault. And also that's what I coach. That's the approach in my coaching. But still there are still biases. And I think that there are maybe different kind of biases. Like in Israel, for example, there's a tendency to ask very personal questions in interviews, for example, like, how are you going to handle everything with kids? Or are you even,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
even if it's not legal, they can ask you like, oh, are you planning to expand your family? And how is that gonna? So those kind of things that women really struggle with. In the US, no one will dare to ask you any personal question. Obviously, right? I mean, they will not ask you even if you have children.
Right.
They'll ask you for your age. But it doesn't mean that those things don't come to mind, right?
Sure. Right.
So I guess it's different and not different in a way. But I believe that as women, a lot of times the barriers are within us, or many of them.
Love that. Okay. Well, we're definitely going to talk about the podcast in a minute, but now I really want to hear about your coaching that you're doing because this sounds fascinating. Um, what made you want to start mentoring back when you were doing it for free? If we can maybe just start there.
Yeah, so I was approached by someone in the US and he started a company for mentoring. Mentoring engineering leaders. And I guess back then there were several co-founders and they reached out to different engineering leaders like me and said, "Hey, do you want to mentor other leaders?" And so yeah, why not? And as I started doing that, I wasn't planning on doing it. I was just, someone asked me to help. It wasn't paid or anything, right? It was completely free. Someone asked me to help. I said yes. And I found that I really enjoyed that.
Okay.
Really enjoy that. And the sense of helping someone else, especially women, I was mentoring both men and women, but I felt like, wow, if I'm mentoring a woman and I'm helping her feel more confident, do her job better, you know, face challenges she's facing, I've done something good in this world. And I wish I had that when I was starting out.
Love
So
that.
it
Love
started
that.
feeling like more of a mission.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when I talk to people about their coaching, about their missions, about their journeys. Um, very often the most successful people are the ones who have determined what they wish they had, and they're trying to provide that now for other people. So I love hearing that because I think that really is sort of the most most effective way to start because you have a little bit more drive to kind of continue with that, which is wonderful. You're talking about empowering women to kind of get past their own limitations. Is that what I'm getting?
That's correct. Yeah.
And are they self-imposed limitations? Is that sort of a crux of the program?
Yes. In yes. Generalizing it, yes.
Okay. And again, yeah, I'm curious about, how you do this, but what types of women are they executive mostly? Are they in tech, or is it any woman who's, trying to just
They're
make the most out of her life?
mostly, I would say they're in tech, not necessarily. So I come from software development, from engineering, but not all of my clients are in engineering, but they're in tech. The levels are usually mid levels.
Okay.
And this is not coincidental because this is where women actually get stuck.
How so?
I don't know if you heard about the term the broken rung. And you can look at there is an annual report that goes from McKinsey. It's called Women in the Workplace. Very interesting. Everyone can download it. It's free to download. And unfortunately, every year, I mean, statistic doesn't change much. And there's one thing that is called the broken rung. It's basically women are stuck in middle management and they get stuck there. And I was stuck there also for many years.
Okay.
And it happens for many reasons. Both, as I said, there are biases against women, right? Are they even leadership material? I had that too, right?
Okay.
Am I a true leader? Am I fit to being an executive? But also things that are holding them back. I think one of the things that held me back is waiting for permission, waiting for someone
Mm,
to tell me you are ready. And men, a lot of time, and I'm hugely generalizing, obviously, but men
of
I've
course.
noticed are not waiting for someone to give them permission. They're pushing. They're saying, hey, I want to do that. I want more impact. I want this opportunity. And women are waiting for someone to tell them that they're ready.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to change. I'm trying to change that narrative. And when I work with women, every woman is different, every story is different. But in general, I want to empower them to do, not to wait for a title, for responsibility, not wait for permission, but Start leading, start looking for opportunities to make an impact, opportunities to solve problems no one else is solving.
Hmm.
And by that, increase their visibility and their impact. And when they do that, obviously working also with different stakeholders, building relationships, they are already seen as leaders.
Excellent. I love that whole idea. Okay, great. And again, I've heard your podcast, and I love what you're doing there. The women that you bring on there, the guests that you bring on. When you bring on a guest, what is it you're trying to accomplish with the guests that you're bringing on there? Are for people who haven't heard it, are they telling stories, about overcoming this sort of thing that you're talking about in your coaching? Are they, contributing to this, talking about the glass ceilings? What are you looking for in your guests, and who comes on your show?
Yeah, so I had different guests, to be honest, quite a variety. Women in tech, entrepreneurs, also coaches, consultants like me. And usually it's a combination. They share some stories from their careers and their journey. And they also share what's working for them or what they want to give back. So it's a combination of I want you to look at a woman that speaks at my podcast and say, oh, if she could do it, I can do it too. So a sense
Okay,
of like empowerment of role models. And also, well, maybe something she said will be tangible, will be relevant for you. So you can actually take that and implement that in your life.
wonderful, wonderful. So, when you created the podcast, did you create it to go along with your mentoring program? Is that where the podcast kind of came from?
I felt a strong urge to do it, right? It was something in me that said, I need to create a platform where I can bring other women, I can give them the stage and talk about things. Talk about things that maybe people don't talk about frequently. Yeah. So I
Interesting.
don't know. I didn't think it so much about it's a business or it has obviously it's related to everything I do, right? It's not like something completely different. It's related, but I felt like I want to amplify the voices of different women. And Rory, one of the things that give me the most joy is having someone at my podcast that never spoke on podcast before or never even spoke in any kind of stage. And a lot of times, those women, by the way, could be pretty successful. And they tell me, oh, I feel uncomfortable. I don't know how. There are guests that I recorded even twice because they felt like they didn't like it the
Ah,
first time. And then they say, you know what? It was actually fun. I'm going to do it more. And that's where I feel like, okay, I gave the stage for that woman. And now I gave her also the confidence to speak up.
nice. So you're literally giving women a voice and a platform who may never have had one before.
Yes, some of them, not all. Obviously,
Sure.
some of them are very experienced speakers, but
Right.
some not. And I really enjoy that.
That's wonderful. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to do podcasting. That's a pretty good one right there.
Yeah.
So I love what you're doing again. Okay, so let's dig into the podcast a little bit here. You've been doing this for 3 years. You've got maybe over 150 episodes. Your podcast comes out weekly, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. Now, when you started, was it coming out weekly, or is that where
Yes.
it is now? Or I mean, because it looks like you've
Yes.
been incredibly consistent.
It was always a weekly podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. You haven't missed a week, I don't think, have you?
No.
I was looking it over and they weren't numbered. So I was like looking through them all. I'm like, man, like clockwork, like bing, bing, bing. I mean, so
Crazy.
I have to applaud you on that because not everybody can do that. That's a little tougher. But now, are they all interview episodes?
99% are interview. I did few solo, but I didn't enjoy it much.
Why not?
I don't know, it felt lonely. Like, yeah, I can talk about a lot of things, but I enjoy more talking about it when either someone is interviewing me, like
Hmm.
you, or I interview someone. It's like I enjoy it more.
Gotcha. All right. Because yeah, I didn't see any solo episodes, but again, I didn't see every single episode, so it looked
Yeah.
like they're mostly interviews, and it also looks like you interview pretty much other women. Is that right?
Yeah. I interview only women. Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay, and so
Yeah.
no men on the podcast, and that's just sort of a policy of yours.
For now, yeah. Just because I wanted to amplify women, so that was the
Of
purpose. It
course.
doesn't mean that men don't. 20% of my audience is men, so some men do listen because a lot of the content is relevant also for men. It's not just for
Oh,
women.
okay.
But my goal is eventually like to uplift other women. So that's why I interview women.
Gotcha. That makes total sense. And again, hey, it's your podcast. You can run it any way you want.
Yeah.
I absolutely am for that with every podcaster who comes on here. So now, in terms of building the podcast up, because you've been doing it for a long time, um, how do you go about promoting the podcast?
Yeah, that evolved. I I promote it on LinkedIn, obviously, because that's the social media I use the most. And I recently started also a Substack publication where I don't publish the entire podcast there, but I do write something. So what I do, I write a personal angle of the episode and usually put it on Substack
Okay.
every week. And on top of that, I create different episodes, different content pieces for other social media, but mainly, I would say mainly on LinkedIn and Substack.
Okay. And that seems to work for you in terms of reaching the people that you want to reach.
Yeah, yeah. I think that the biggest reach today, what I see today from all the podcasting platform is actually YouTube.
Hmm. Okay. So you do a video and you do audio both?
Yeah, the podcast was initially just audio, but about a year into podcasting, I switched to video.
Okay.
And by the way, Apple just released that they are going to enable video.
I heard that.
They're a
Yeah.
little bit late in the game,
A
but
little bit.
finally they understood that video is really a thing that a lot of people like watching, actually, not just listening.
Right.
So YouTube is definitely important, and if anyone is listening, when I started, I was publishing the RSS feed automatically to Spotify, to Apple, and to back then it was called Google Podcasts.
I remember that.
Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And when they switched, when they basically canceled Google for whatever it was called, Google Podcast,
Right.
and basically switched to YouTube, then I started uploading the videos separately to YouTube.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, do you find that you have more success in one or the other between the video and the audio just with your own show?
So I think that YouTube is definitely, as I said, unignorable platform.
Yeah. Okay. So the videos
I
become a little
actually
bit.
listen. I actually listen to a lot of content on YouTube myself.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah,
Wonderful. Excellent. Well, at least you're practicing what you preach, which is a good thing.
yeah, yeah.
So that's awesome. All right. As you've been doing the podcast all this time, we talked about who you look for in your guests and how you market it. Um, have you had a chance to monetize the podcast other than through the course?
Not yet. I'm looking for ways, I'll be honest, I'm looking for ways to monetize it.
Okay.
So I'll give an example of a way I haven't succeeded yet. I don't know if it will work or not. I have a big problem that I have more guests than I can possibly have.
That's a great problem to have.
Yeah, so I have tons of guests, and we met on Podmatch. So I use Podmatch, and I
Sure.
get all the time. And also, I get PR agencies reach out to me directly on email. I don't know if it happens to you too. I
Mhm.
mean, you have 10 podcasts, so I'm sure that,
It does. Yeah.
yeah, people reach out to you all the time. And like, I don't have the bandwidth to have them all. And, I start thinking, well, maybe if some of them, like a PR firm that is sending someone my way, I can charge a fee and then I can offload that to someone else to do all the editing, posting, everything, and publish it in addition to the weekly.
Mhm.
That's the thought I had in my head, only for people specifically trying to promote something like a book or some workshop or something.
Mhm.
And it's like a win win. I help them promote it. Still, I want the episode to be valuable. I tried that. So far, no one said yes.
It's a tough switch. That really is a tough switch in the podcasting world to charge for our time.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not a good idea, but I just tried it. I say, okay, instead of just saying no,
Mhm.
I can say, if you're willing to pay, I'll have you.
Yeah,
And the other option is just to say no. I don't have the bandwidth.
sure. Okay. How about sponsors, advertisers, anything like that? Has any of that kind of come your way, or are you thinking about any of those
Not yet,
things?
and I haven't intentionally looked for that. And the reason is that I don't want to prematurely advertise before I actually know what do I want to advertise.
Hmm.
That
Okay.
makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm glad that you care about it like that. Our podcasts are very much extensions of us. So,
Yeah.
it does kind of matter what we endorse,
Yeah,
how that
it's
works.
okay. It's okay to commercial. I think it's very relevant, very valuable, super relevant to monetize. It just you have to really, at least I feel like if I monetize, I want it to be very intentional and figure out what exactly, who do I want to work with, and I haven't figured that out yet. Have you? I'm
Gotcha.
curious.
Actually, yeah, I'm fully monetized. I do this for a living.
That,
So otherwise there's no way
fantastic.
I would get 10 podcasts out.
That's
It would
fantastic.
never happen. So if I was trying to do this in addition to something else, uh, no way.
Well,
No
10
way I could do it.
podcasts definitely I would not be able to do. Even one is hard.
Sure. Now, are you
Yeah.
doing all of the work on your podcast, the editing and the production and the marketing and everything? You a
I
one
do
woman show?
everything myself. I do everything myself. I don't do heavy editing.
Good for you.
Um,
All right.
I slightly edit. I use a software called Riverside.
Mhm.
It's helping. It's helping with the editing. It generates a lot of things, right? The clips and all that.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
For
so I
sure.
do it all by myself for now until I can monetize it and offload everything. So my vision is to basically make money out of the podcast.
Hmm.
So at least I can offload that to someone who is professional about it. Like I'm
Sure.
not saying I'm not professional, but that's not what I want to do. I don't want to produce podcasts like to do the actual post production work myself.
Right.
There are people
Gotcha.
who actually make a living out of that, so I'm happy to pay them.
There you go. Well, and it helps to monetize if you're going to pay somebody for those pieces. So I understand that too. I always ask all my guests a kind of a corny question. Okay. So if you're ready for that, here it comes. Are you ready?
Yeah,
All right. Here
yeah.
we go. All right. Really tough one right now. When it comes to doing the podcast, sitting down, interviewing, doing the podcast, the whole bit, and getting it out into the world, what is it about doing your podcast that you love the most? And what is it about doing your podcast that you just absolutely cannot stand, throw it out the window, hate the most?
I think the easiest part for me is just record an episode. I can do it all day long. Like literally, I can record it every day. I have no problem with it. It's fun. It's a fun conversation. I meet different incredible women. I love it.
Yeah, awesome.
Everything else, I don't know if to say hate, but I think that so I release every Wednesday, and okay, today's Tuesday already, and I worked before we met actually. I worked on the episode for tomorrow, so I edited that. I'm happy to not do it ever again. I don't know if to say hate. Hate is a strong word. I don't think I hate everything, but it's a chore. Definitely a chore. And I say, well, I wish I could just offload that to someone else.
I love that. So you love recording and meeting the people and actually doing the interview, but everything else is pretty much no thanks.
Yeah, everything else like creating the graphics, just yeah, I wish someone editing, posting it. I wish someone else could do it for me.
Sure. Something I've been talking to talking to people about here recently is sort of their process also. Do you do, like a pre-interview on your podcast? How do you screen folks? What kind of research do you do in order to get your guest and get ready for them and get them on?
Yeah. So I um I don't interview someone before I met them before. So I do have a pre-call.
Okay.
And the goal of the pre-call is to break the ice a little bit, just to get to know the woman and also to chat with her about what we want to talk about. Because I want the episode to be both valuable for the listeners, but also something that the guests feel passionate about. Because, we can talk with everyone, probably I can talk about multiple things. So I'm trying to kind of find this thing that I feel like create a spark in my guest. I see like, oh, she's excited about that, and also
Hmm.
makes sense for my podcast. Once we realize that, then I have what I need usually, and I just kind of, to be honest, what I do, I have a transcript of the pre-call. I go to the AI and said, okay, based on what we talked about and what we agreed, give me few starter questions. I don't need more than five. Usually, and I found that through doing that for 3 years, I cannot work out of a script or like list of questions. I need to have a free flowing conversation.
Nice. I love that. Okay. So I usually ask people how they incorporate AI also. So, you kind of answered that question. Also, you use that all the way into your pre-interview even.
Yes, I have a tool that I recently started using called Granola AI.
Hmm.
This tool is incredible, absolutely incredible. What I like about it, I don't like those tools that joins the meetings,
Right.
the
I
Zoom
don't either.
meetings. I don't like them. And this tool is a standalone tool. You install it on your computer. It recognizes when you start a call. You connect it to your calendar. It recognizes when you start a Zoom or a Google Meet or a Riverside or whatever. And you can let it start transcribing the call. It doesn't record the call. It just kind of connects to your computer um, speaker microphone and transcribe it live. And after you ended the call, you can chat with it based on the transcription.
Interesting. All
And
right.
it is really incredible. So I highly recommend you to try it out.
All right.
It has a free version too. I like tools that have a free version because like, oh my God, like you cannot pay for so I already overpay for too many tools.
Exactly. I think everybody's nodding their head right now going, yes, yes, we do. We pay for way too much as podcasters. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I have a custom GPT on ChatGPT. I have a custom GPT. So what happened was I had kind of a different prompts I was using every single episode. And I did it again and again and again and again. And what I did, I said, okay, just took everything, created a custom GPT, and I for each episode, I upload a transcript and the guest bio and links. And I said, and I click a button and it generates everything for me.
Nice.
I
Okay.
still chat with it. It's not fire and forget, but it gives me like the baseline for what I need.
Gotcha. Okay, wonderful. I love that. I mean, hey, if everybody uses AI differently, so this is a unique way. I haven't encountered anybody, at least who has told me. Now, some people are maybe using it and they're just not admitting it on the program, but I appreciate it. I haven't met anybody who's told me that they're using AI during the pre-interview to
Mm.
kind of produce something like that to get them ready for the episode. But I'm also really glad to hear that you're taking that and then kind of using it just as a guideline. So you have those questions to kind of go back to. Is that the way you're working it? Like, if you're going through the conversation, then you have that to return to, to
More
keep the
so
conversation going.
mostly as a starting point.
Hmm.
And sometimes, yeah, sometimes I have like, okay, I will have those questions. So if I'm stuck, doesn't happen a lot. To be honest, rarely happens. But if I feel like the conversation is not flowing, I have something to go back to. But mostly it's a starting point.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now, are you paying for any advertising to promote your podcast at all, or is it all just
No,
done through like LinkedIn
no, it's
and
organic.
Substack? All
It's
organic.
organic. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And
Are
then
you
you're not
paying?
using
I'm just
what's that?
curious. Now I'm curious. Are you paying?
Oh, goodness, no.
Right.
No, 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 not at all. Not at
Yeah.
all. But I have met a couple people recently who have started
Yeah.
buying different ads on different platforms to try and boost their ratings, to try and get more downloads, things like that. So I don't personally recommend it in the coaching that I do, but I always ask that question of people. So I am curious. You don't utilize the other forms of social media, or do you? But it's just not heavy.
What other forms you refer to?
Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, any of the,
I
the
use,
X, any
so
of the
I
big
I
ones?
have accounts on X, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I post usually once one reel to each one of them.
Okay. Each day or each week
No,
or
every
each?
week. So each episode, I produce several clips
Ah, okay.
and I post those. So I post an Instagram reel. Usually from Instagram, I post also Facebook and Threads, TikTok, X. Yeah, I think those are. It just, I'll tell you something. There's so many platforms, and there's little time. I cannot focus on all of them, and I figured, okay, main platforms are LinkedIn, Substack, and YouTube.
Hmm.
So mainly LinkedIn and Substack. YouTube, obviously, you cannot ignore. That's my personal opinion. So I post there both the long form video and also the shorts.
Gotcha. Okay. Interesting. All right. Wonderful. Have you found anything that you've tried to do that just was awful, that did not work? Because that's something that people kind of want to know too.
That was awful.
And it's okay if the answer is no. I haven't had anything that was awful.
I don't know if something was awful. I mean, I evolved, I kind of evolve all the time and I learn all the time. So I don't consider myself like to have all the answers. I started using Zoom for my podcast and I figured that it was not good enough for me. I know we
Hmm.
talked about it in the past.
Hmm.
It was just the editing was so too difficult for me. So I switched to Riverside and I'm really happy that I did because it makes it much, much easier for me to
Sure.
edit. Um, Something awful.
Did you try
I
any
mean,
sort of platform and it just didn't work? Something like that?
I don't recall anything like that.
Good for
No.
you. I love
Uh,
that.
I do think that there's still work for me to do on my podcast to be a little bit more strategic about it.
Okay.
Because right now, kind of I interview women, different kind of women, different, and on different topics. And I started thinking recently that maybe I need to actually narrow down a little bit
Hmm.
and be more specific and be more intentional about it.
Wonderful. Okay.
That's kind of what's going on in my head. I don't know if it's good or not, but I've been thinking maybe I'm spreading too much.
Gotcha. At 150 episodes, ish, with where you are, the at this point you've passed most of the milestones in terms of getting started. It kind of once you pass 20, then they give you a boost. On the platforms, you pass 50, you get a boost. You pass 100, you get a boost. The next one's at like 250. So you've passed those already. Once you cross 100 episodes, you're considered an established podcast by most of the rating systems. So congratulations on that too. At
Mhm.
150 episodes, I mean you're doing it. It's like you're a serious podcaster. I congratulate you for getting to that level because that's amazing. 150 episodes, 3 years of doing it every week is really something. So it's great to hear that you're, working on reinventing yourself and, trying to sort of maybe refine processes and, always get better. I think that's a huge piece of becoming a podcaster and staying as a podcaster. So what is your goal for the podcast?
It's a dream. I don't know if I'll ever get there. But my dream is that from a woman to a leader will be the place for women in tech to go to. Like someone wants to hear something. Oh, I'll tap to from a woman to a leader podcast. I'll see what's and that will be a place for guests also to. I think that part already happens just because people are looking for a stage to kind of share themselves and their ideas. But even more so, like that will be the place for women to want to tune in.
Nice. Nice. Well, you're on your way to getting there for sure. I love this. I do have one more question for you. Before I get to that one, though, let me make sure that I get this out. What's the best way for all the folks who are out there who want to reach you to reach you? Is it a website? Is it one of the socials? What's the best way for folks to reach you and give us your contact info? And of course, it will be in the show notes.
Yeah, probably LinkedIn will be the best.
Okay. What,
Yeah.
what's your call sign on LinkedIn? Is it just your name?
Yeah, Limor Bergman. That's the handle.
Okay. At Limor Bergman. Gotcha. All right. No, no gross on LinkedIn.
No, that's
Gotcha.
my maiden name. So that's, I have the account since, wow, I don't remember from when, but my handle was Limor Bergman. And to be honest, I even haven't changed my name on LinkedIn for a while. I don't know,
Okay.
it kind of stayed on Facebook. I'm Limor Bergman, like in many of the platforms, I'm still Bergman. Yeah.
Okay. Good deal. All right. Well, hey, I mean, if it's working and everybody knows you that way,
Yeah,
then
it's like that's
hey,
how I started. So it just stayed.
exactly.
And Bergman Bros is too long. So
Gotcha. All right. So the last question that I usually ask everybody, especially folks who are established like you are, is to say, hey, we have a lot of folks who listen to the show who are looking to grow their own podcasts, who maybe even be thinking of starting one. And so, what is your best advice to someone who's out there who is just not quite where you are yet?
ask yourself why are you doing that? Because Rory, I got some questions about, oh, is it good for the business? Do you get clients? And usually I answer, first ask yourself, why do you even want to podcast? Podcasting is a marathon and it's a wonderful platform. You have, but you have to put energy in it, put a lot of love. It's a labor of love. And I think that if you don't really feel, this is at least how I feel, if you don't feel like this is part of your mission, it's part of something that you do that is important to you, it will not be something that you will stick by with. And if you
Gotcha.
want to pass those 20 episodes, right? I mean, most I think there's some statistics around like most podcasts end at like, I don't know if 20 or something like that. If you
Yeah.
want your podcast to really be there for the long run, then it has to be something you're connected to personally,
Nice.
not just something you do because, oh, I want to get business out of it.
Nice. I love that. All right. And how about your course? If people want to find out more about the course, is there a website or anything like that? Or do you want them to go to LinkedIn as well?
Hey, you can go to LinkedIn, you can go to my website, limorbergman.com, and you can find everything there.
Got it. Com. We'll make sure all that stuff is in the show notes for sure. Uh, Lamar, it's been absolutely amazing listening to you and finding out
Likewise,
all about
Rory.
your podcast. It's been a great conversation. Folks, 20 years in tech, and she's out here coaching and mentoring. And her podcast is From a Woman to a Leader. Tune in. It's an amazing podcast. She does a great job with it. I've listened to several episodes, so I can vouch for it personally. And look this lady up on LinkedIn at Limor Bergman. Limor, thank you so much for coming on today and for just sharing everything that you did. I know there are women out there who are going to get a lot out of this episode, and I thank you for that.
Thank you so much, Rory.
Wonderful. Folks, this has been another absolutely awesome episode of the Podcaster Nation. And as most of you guys know, if your podcast is not where it needs to be, if you're trying to get more downloads, if you're trying to monetize, so on and so forth, we have coaching programs for all of that stuff. Call us, look us up. You know how to find me. I'm really easy, right? At Rory Podcast on Facebook. Come find me. We'll have a chat. But folks, the reason that we have so many fantastic, awesome, strong, powerful podcasters on this show is because this is the podcast. It's about podcasters. It's for podcasters and it's done by podcasters. This is the place, like we said before, where the rising tide truly raises all ships. So keep sailing.